here. And we did not get a coin or anything. You made that coin? Let's do that.
Flip a credit card.
You got a double-sided coin?
Flip the credit card. I got a credit of that.
All right. Okay. Let's which one call it? Tails? Head the bids. Okay. So Kitty is going to be our timer for today. And so she'll kind of give you a heads up when we get close.
All right, Alex, what I'll do is I will choose to defer and allow our current councilman, Bruce Henderson, to go first.
Okay. Sure. Bruce?
Well, first of all, I want to thank everyone for being here today. I appreciate you being here more than you will ever know. It really shows just how much you really are involved in the process and how important it is. Because it is important, very important. I'm approaching 2 years of service in your seat as councilman for District 2. But still, I know it's not my seat, it's yours, even after 2 years. The day that I ever get to the point to where I feel like I'm entitled, or if I even get the impression that I'm entitled, it's time for me to go. And I'll assure you, as long as I'm in my right mind, that will never happen. It'll always be viewed and treated as sacred. And it is exactly that. I hope to help you rest assured that District 2, the District 2 seat of York County Council, will be safe with me once again. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to thank the Rotarians for allowing us to come today and meet with you, and the opportunity to have this forum to not only present a little bit about who we are and our platform, but also the opportunity to take your questions. My name is John Rinehart. I'm a lifelong resident of York County. I lived here all my life, graduated from high school, went away to school to Boone, North Carolina, Appalachian State University, graduated from ASU in 1973, looked around at places that I would really like to live and chose York County as my home. Came back to York County, started a real estate company in the back of our family store in 1976, and I've been in the real estate business for 37 years. I'm married to the same lady for 43 years, Jerry Wylie, and we have 2 children, a son, Jay, who happens to be with us today, who's president and CEO of our company, and a daughter, Jennifer. Between the 2, 7 grandchildren, which you cannot beat. I'd be glad to talk to you about them later when we have more time. So, I'm running for York County Council because I feel that York County, our district in particular, District 2, needs strong leadership. I feel that my experience over the last 37 years in business, I can bring to the council a business perspective. We have the highest unemployment in our area, one of the highest unemployment rates in the state. We're at 10.5%. We need quality jobs, and that has been one of the focuses of my platform. The York County Council will continue to be. And I appreciate the opportunity to be here and look forward to answering your questions.
Okay. All right, we'll get started. First question is about the UDO. And if you're not quite familiar, the UDO had a little bit over 10 years in the making of the UDO, and it started out as a comprehensive land use plan for our area. It was voted down by council earlier this year. A lot of people in this area who are familiar with it wonder why it was shot down and think that it could have helped with some of the architectural standards in the Lake Wylie and Clover area. And so what would be your plans to bring back the UDO with changes or an alternate solution to create standards for our community. And I'm going to let you start with this one.
Alan, thank you. It's a good question, and I was present at the York County Council meetings during the discussion of the Unified Development Ordinance. I also had an opportunity to take a look at the ordinance that was being proposed. The ordinance was about 2.5 inches thick in volume. And a lot of folks got the wrong impression of what was being presented when they looked at that ordinance. They really felt that the ordinance was going to place tremendous burdens on the county, on our builders, and so forth, when in fact the UDO was an attempt, as I understand, to simplify things. The UDO was to be something that would be of benefit, in particular to districts like District 2, as we look at the Lake Wylie, River Hills area. So hopefully the Unified Development Ordinance can be taken a look at again and put into a study group with staff, with citizens, and be brought back for consideration again.
Alan, ladies and gentlemen, I can say, from firsthand experience, gosh, I'm going to jam all this in 2 minutes or 3 minutes. But real quick, first of all, there were some good things in this UDO. There were, but it was sporadic. But the extremities were sporadic as well. For instance, if I wanted to put up a ceiling fan, a weekend warrior, so to speak, if I were wanted to do that in my own home for the weekend, simple wiring, it was going to cost me, it was going to cost me around $50 or so plus to be able to get a permit just to put up a ceiling fan. It was going to cost me more to just do some other simple things, and I'm trying to speed this up so I can get all this answer in. Basically, now you're talking about, Mr. Rinehart was saying that, giving some information about the UDO. Yes, we wanted it simplified. Yes, we wanted it downsized. Yes, we wanted it to in a situation where it would be easier for builders and developers, real estate. Make it to where the burden is nowhere near what it is now, to where folks can get their their information in, and it be okay. Well, just to let you know, that thing was pasted, basically copied and pasted from everywhere else in the world, and had nothing much to do with this.
Okay. The next question is about the River Hills EMS and what's going on with Piedmont. There's a big push to have the Piedmont Ambulance Service come in and take over control in what appears to be a push to push out River Hills EMS. The River Hills EMS has been a great organization for the Lake Wylie area, and we would certainly hate to see it go. So if you would tell us your thoughts on this, and Bruce will start with you.
Okay. Well, it's been brought up to me several times over the last 2 years, or close to 2 years now, about some concerns about that. And after a while, it gets to the point where you start hearing so much, so often, there has to be some truth to it. And then it turns out that we all know, for whatever reason, many things were, I don't know why, it was just overlooked, pushed to the back burner over the last maybe as much as 10 or 12 years. I know that this contract with Piedmont had not been reviewed, as far as I know, any. I personally think that any of these contracts like this need to be reviewed at least at a minimum of every 2 years to just make sure everything's up to date. The way this thing kind of started was when I just simply asked for a study for a response time for all the different agencies. And one thing led to another, up to where we're at now, where we brought folks back to the table, and to where we could to revive volunteerism, revive revive folks that have gotten frustrated and just walked away from it. I didn't want it to be in a situation to where we would be without an ambulance service eventually should something happen to Piedmont. And I had enough foresight that that could very well come to be, should they sell out, go bankrupt, they're losing $250,000 a quarter. The CEO showed it to me himself. And again, I had an open door. When that happened, I made sure that everyone could see what was happening when I discussed this with this gentleman, and that immediately threw up a red flag, and I began making my move on this issue. And I believe have brought about good results.
This weekend, Saturday night, the Lions Club of River Hills had a fundraiser at River Hills for EMS. The purpose was raising funds for EMS. My wife and I attended that fundraiser, and the question was asked, how many of you in the audience have used the services of this EMS? I was amazed. What you done, 60 to 70% of the audience raised their hands that they had used the local EMS. I will tell you that I support our local EMS. I support the volunteers, and I thank the volunteers for what they are doing, for their time commitment, for their commitment to be the best they can be. In regard to the contract with Piedmont, not having been on the York County Council, I have not had the privilege to review that contract. It is one of the first things that I will do. I feel that it's important for your council representative to read the contracts, to be prepared for each and every meeting that councilman goes into, so that they will be able to talk to the issue, speak to the issue, and when called on, make a decision. This is going to be an important issue that we have to resolve, and I look forward to that.
Okay. Next one is about park plan that we have in progress here in Lake Wylie. If you're not familiar, we're trying to get a park put together with some money from the 1% money coming back to our area, and we're hoping to build ball fields that will attract tournament play, and as well give the citizens of our area places to go, walking trails, etc. Make this a more inviting area for families to come in. And a group of community leaders, along with staff from York County, have been working on this, as I said, with the hospitality tax. So we're hoping to bring this to, they're hoping to bring this to council early next year. And what will you do to ensure that it passes?
Recently, there was a survey that was reported by the Lake Wylie Pilot. There were over 850 responses to the survey to find out what the community's concerns were. And I think it's really important that we had that type of response. And those concerns came back that they're concerned about traffic, concerned about the environment, concerned about sprawling development. And they talked about what the needs were. One of the needs was that we need more recreational areas in this district. I would be a strong advocate for the parks. And I look forward to that, and I feel that our district, perhaps, we have not been vocal enough and supportive enough and advocate enough to get our share of the hospitality money that's out there. The hospitality money, as you know, is to be used for certain things, and I believe that this would fall within that. So I look forward to supporting that effort and being an advocate and a vocal advocate for that.
And I'll say, just like Mr. Rinehart was saying, up until I came along, to the best of my knowledge, no one was really getting out there fighting, squirming, hollering, screaming from the mountaintop that basically this area had been overlooked when it comes to unincorporated taxes, and also as far as having something to show for the unincorporated tax money, and then also the hospitality tax money. So, and folks in here know this is absolutely true. There's several in here that know that I pushed very hard to get this process started. Yes, I'm for. I was part of putting the preliminary plans together for the park in Clover, and it's taken off now. Well, I was part of planting the seed here as a result of, I guess people just get tired of me fussing. They get tired of me bragging about my area, but in a way that's friendly, negotiable, very easy to deal with, but yet get my firm point across. We have a councilman in here that can vouch for it. But also, yes, I do. I'm committed to this. I would like to see a little more daylight to where the economy turns a little bit better. And yes, I feel like that it will continue as early as January, if not sooner, on pursuing this. Yes.
Okay. Our secondary roads in this area are in need of repair. And it's roads such as Bethel School Road. I drive down that 3 nights a week, going from here out to Bethel School for my son's football practice. It's lots of potholes, some little bit of repair, but they're in need of more. Brittle Mill, Oak Ridge, or others. So tell me, what will you do to address these issues and help the repair part of our secondary roads in the area?
Well, I'll just pick up because I'm on the run with this, even as we speak. There's projects in the making. I would hate to see, someone have to come in and be caught in the middle of this and having to catch up on a lot of different things. Nothing personal toward Mr. Rinehart whatsoever. It's just that I know quite a bit what's going on with that, and I've had to personally negotiate with the state in order to broaden and maximize the chances of getting more roads paved, patched, repaired, so on and so on. But a lot of it repaired, and basically I took a gamble that pennies was going to pass, and I pushed very hard. I guess everyone's seen my article in the paper that I was pushing for that. It turns out, long story short, it did pass, and it was going to benefit a lot more of this side of the district. So I allocated a little more to the western side of the district. And you do take gambles sometimes when you're in this position. But overall, right out here on River Oaks Road, I negotiated with the state to make it to where that whole area out there could be paved rather than just partial. It's a matter of being able to have personalities that click, personalities that are pleasant enough. I guess I get it from the sales experience from my past and even now. But you got to have someone that's a good negotiator, and people will usually deal with people who they like and trust.
Let me talk to you a moment about C funds. C funds are the county's portion of the state gasoline tax that comes back. That money is then split between 7 districts equally in York County. Our district's portion of that last year was $475,000. Now, that $475,000, C funds, first of all, requests come in to York County Engineering. They logged in a spreadsheet. Those, about October of each year, a request goes out from engineering to the local municipalities, in this case to Clover, to ask if they have any road concerns or requests for those C funds. And 1st of January of each year, the engineers get out and they ride the roads. And they make pictures. And they come back and meet with their council representative in February, March. And they review the needs and what the funding is. And once again, the final say-so is on your county councilman to make a decision regarding those C funds. Now, this last year, I found out that there was $150,000 remaining in C funds in each district. Now, those funds were, I understood, a part of the fact that projects came in below budget. I would recommend that we have a track system whereby we would be able to track funding and what money is being spent on an ongoing basis, so that if we have funds remaining, we can address those road needs immediately, not wait until the end of the year and find out that we have $150,000 left over in our budget. Roads in our district are in need of repair now, not later. And I would see to it that, that we address that need as quickly and as effectively as possible.
If you don't mind, I'd like to respond to that if I could. The $150,000 that he's talking about is exactly, it's very close to that, but I'll tell you this, you have to kind of wait and see what happens in order to apply those monies to whatever given problem you've got. Some unforeseen stuff can come up at any given time. So it's good to have a little rainy day fund there. You know, just like we're suggested for us to have a 25% fund setting there for a rainy day for at least 3 months of operation, and it's good to have those on hand. So I just thought I'd mention that.
Okay, very good. Our next question goes to Carolina Water. My understanding is the previous council offered to Carolina Water to take over the system. And Carolina Water declined and then offered to sell it to the county for some outrageous price. What are your plans to take on this issue to ensure that the Lake Wylie area residents have clean and affordable water?
This is probably one of the, outside of the roads, this is one of the top issues that has been discussed with me throughout our district. This Carolina water is what we're paying for rates, etc. We have a surplus of over $43 million in our county right now. District 2 has a need, and that need, Chad, is to resolve this issue on water and sewer with Carolina Water and Sewer. I would be an advocate for bringing that back to council and discussing that need and seeing if we could come to some type of a resolution. Now, over the last 37 years, I've had the opportunity to negotiate a lot of contracts. I've had an opportunity to negotiate with folks on commercial property, bringing their businesses to York County, to our area, bringing jobs here. And I look forward to being an advocate for this, for our district, because we do need to resolve this issue with Carolina.
Well, they did offer, we was right at about 12, well, we offered our amount, and then they give us a counter of about $12 million, which is astronomical, pretty much typical of folks out of Chicago. That's exactly what happened, and that even happened before I came along. Since then, I was involved with some of the meetings here whenever they wanted to go up so drastically on the rates, which is just absurd. When people show up, when the numbers show up, it speaks louder than words. And we were able to hold that monster down quite a bit, with quite a bit of help from some other folks in here who really got involved. But yes, I am committed to when, as far as he's talking about the $43 million in reserve, well, they're asking, or they suggest at least 25, 26 million to be sitting there to take all that and buy something that is definitely obsolete, that is deteriorating, that has gotten major issues like it's got right now. We're kind of in a catch-22, just to be honest with you. If I'll tell you this, as the economy begins to recover, I think we're more in a position to be able to make a move and buy Carolina Water Works, or at least the portion that we have here. But I have continually put pressure on these folks. I don't, as far as with the roots in the piping, to water, sewage backing up in homes, to people can't put out their fires because they have to go down to the lake because fire hydrants are stuck. That is unacceptable to me. I've been told that they have tried to better some of those situations since. But yes, I am committed to being open to make a move and try to buy Carolina Water.